This government is undoubtedly one of the most rotten, corrupt, and incompetent in modern times. But here's the kicker. Despite widespread distrust of the Labour leadership, Labour is the only viable alternative. Yes, we've had our issues with the Labour leadership, but the stakes are high. Dumping this government is in the best interest of the working class. Right on cue, the election backdrop features another scandal at the heart of the Tory party. This time, it's betting on the election date. Some in Rishi Sunak's immediate circle and Tory candidates use their inside knowledge to profit at the bookies. Meanwhile, Keir Starmer's selection of new parliamentary candidates isn't without its flaws. One of these candidates has been suspended for betting against himself. It's a mess on both sides, but let's focus on the bigger picture. For 14 years, the Tories have presided over an increase in food bank use and child poverty while the rich get richer. Public services are in shambles and millions of workers can't afford basic necessities. It's time for a change. On July the 4th, unless an unforeseen political event occurs, Rishi Sunak will be out along with many Tory MPs. The Tories are facing an historic defeat, possibly the heaviest in a century. Even in Scotland, Labour is calculated to make a comeback, challenging the SNP's narrative that England will always be Tory. The SNP, embroiled in their own scandals, are falling back on old arguments and losing seats to Labour. The SNP, embroiled in their scandals, are falling back on old arguments and potentially losing seats to Labour. As we've explained many times, the huge swing towards Labour is driven by a profound hatred of the Tories. Despite distrusting Keir Starmer, millions see Labour as the only viable alternative. This election is about rejecting Tory mismanagement and corruption. So, what will a Labour landslide mean? Despite Starmer and Shadow Chancellor Rachel Reeves managing expectations, Labour voters will demand real change. The slogan, "Change," must translate into meaningful action. A Starmer government signals a new political phase. This corrupt, anti-democratic government is on its way out. British capitalists, who control much of the economy and media, have no interest in public or private investment. Their goal, as it always has been, is profit, often at the expense of the public good. Labour's policies, if based on capitalism, will lead to more austerity. Reeves and Starmer talk of hard choices, but it essentially means more cuts. However, there is a fundamental difference between Labour and the Tories. Labour has millions of affiliated trade union members pushing for reforms. Even historically, Labour governments have introduced significant reforms under pressure from trade unions. Health and safety, equal pay, minimum wage, these came from Labour. The presence of strong unions ensures better wages and conditions. The key issue is Labour's economic programme. Starmer and Reeves plan to generate economic growth, but many economists are sceptical. The Institute of Fiscal Studies warns that both parties' promises are unrealistic without raising taxes, cutting spending, or borrowing more. Despite economic challenges potentially incoming, Labour voters expect improvements. The greater the majority, the higher the expectations. Even right-wing Labour figures like Gordon Brown have a list of expectations, including attacking child poverty and taxing the wealthy. If Labour's leadership tries to manage capitalism, hopes for reform will give way to reality. When that happens, expect a shift among Labour supporters, especially trade union members. Within the Labour movement, opposition to right-wing policies will grow. We at Left Horizons hold firm and support a vote for Labour and the largest majority possible. This election will be a turning point, leading to greater volatility and swings between left and right. Inside the Labour Party, the left is far from dead, and within affiliated unions, socialist ideas will flourish again.